grab your wine. It's time for Rosé All Day and Juleigh's a Mess, where we talk about current events and living in an intersex life. And now, here's Juleigh.
Everybody, hi. It is a live Tuesday at justjuleigh.com. I am Juleigh. Obvious. Gosh, it is really hot in my room tonight. I needed to go pee, but we were about to go live, so I couldn't do that. And I needed to get something to drink, but I got scolded today for drinking out of plastic bottles. So because I do have my nice justjuleigh.com wine tumbler, but I think this is candle wax, y'all. I think that's candle wax. It could be mold. Clearly, I've not used this glass in a while, but since I'm not supposed to be drinking out of plastic bottles, we're going to have to wait on that. So I go live every Tuesday night now on justjuleigh.com. Rosé All Day is still a thing, kind of. And we are kind of growing that out and doing different things. But what I'm really starting to kind of evolve and do is each week I'm coming on and we're just talking about everything and anything. And there's a live chat where you can join me. I think because I am also doing other structured podcasts for other individuals and other people like the original Intersex Live Connect. I think that this is going to just be more of a kind of homespun, fun, engaged time, much like the lives that I already do on other platforms like Instagram and gosh, I didn't even put mascara on today. So it has been a busy day, but I think we're just going to do more of an informal live like we do on other platforms here on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. But we have a lot to talk about. So if you're joining us, I see one person watching. So go ahead and go into the chat room and feel free to engage with me. But we're just going to kind of get you caught up to speed with things that have been going on with me in the last couple of weeks. Also going to talk about some very interesting news that came about today. And but let's get into it. So about 2 weeks ago, one of my more important things that's happened in the last couple of weeks, a lot has happened, but one of the things was my dentures needed to be refitted. And so I ended up, everybody wants me to talk about the Aspen details beyond the 3 minutes that you're allowed to talk about it on TikTok. What had initially happened was I was limited in funds and I needed to get my dentures, which I've had for about 13 years, refitted. And I checked into my local options, and the most cost affordable option at the time was to go to an Aspen Dental here in Savannah, Georgia. Something I've learned in the aftermath is a lot of Aspen Dentals are franchised. So oftentimes dentists in your area will own them, and then they provide the work in your area. It's kind of like though having a McDonald's or right? They're not governed by the same dentist, but then they kind of fall under the hierarchy of a corporation. So there's corporate Aspen Dental, and then kind of all of these franchises underneath. And so I went to one here in Savannah. You deserve more viewers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Yasmin. And we'll get them as they come. I mean, feel free to invite people if you want more viewers in tonight. Great thing about these podcasts and videos is that they are housed here forever. So people can always go back and watch them. And as more people join us on justjuleigh.com in the future, which is something that we're going to be talking about a little bit later, that will build out and follow out as well. So I thought about going live on TikTok at the same time, but because you have to spend so much time kind of editing yourself and what you can say on TikTok, I didn't want to be live on YouTube and get banned on TikTok. So, in this forum, I can kind of say whatever I want within reason. Anyway, back to my story. So I checked out a local Aspen Dental to go get my dentures that I'd had for the last 13 years, which were great for me, worked amazing for me, refitted. Sometimes they will call this a reline, and it's where they will take your dentures. I actually have like 9 sets now that I can show you, but you take your dentures, right? Let's say this is your top plate. Ooh, that smells good. That is a good smelling candle. Anyway, they will take your top plate and they will pour a rubber reline in the original denture. So when you put them into your mouth, they fit better and they're more secure. And maybe you won't have to use as much glue or gloop or powder or any of those things that denture wearers have to use. And so I went in on a Friday morning. And the great thing about it is, as an advocate, being in personal view, being in the public eye, I needed them to be done fast. I couldn't send them out. They were the only pair I had. So I really kind of done my homework. And I found out that I could take them there. They accepted payment plans, so I could put money down and make a payment each month. And then they would reline them. Now, across the board, you will hear people say, what? You had to do a payment plan for relines? Like, it shouldn't be that expensive. Again, franchises, people can charge what they want. This is not about any of that. Anyway, went into this office and met with their lab technician and one of their other staff members. And my first kind of uneasiness in the situation was the lab technician couldn't figure out what he wanted to do. He was like, do we reline it? Should we not reline it? They're old. Should we try and get her into a new set? Like, it was literally all this back and forth. And I thought, this may not be as easy as I thought. And it also may not be what I want to do. But I was there. And I had already made the appointment. I already made the down payment about a week prior to that. So I was like, okay. And they were like, we will have them refitted for you, relined. You will come back this afternoon for some minor adjustments. And if you need them at all, and you'll be good to go. Right. And I thought all the things I'd read previously or had heard previously, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe they've changed. Like, let's try it out. And so I did that, right? And I left and I went to the mall. I went to a friend's house for a couple of hours so I wouldn't have to be out in public. And then they called me that afternoon. They were like, come back in, let's try them out. So when I went back in, they had first gotten rid of my carrying case that I'd carried them in for all the years I wasn't wearing them. So I was like, where's my carrying case? Not that that's a big deal. That's a quick fix. Then they gave me a Ziploc bag with some mouthwash in it and my refitted dentures. Now, I knew even looking at them that they looked different. They didn't look like what I left them. And it should have just been a simple reline. And she said, take them in the bathroom, try them on, because I was out in the lobby. And she was like, let's see how they fit. And I took them in. I put them in. The top one fell out immediately without anything. It used to be a tight fit. And the lower ones didn't fit at all. And they hurt. And I had already rubbed, because of ill-fitting dentures prior to going in, I had already rubbed calluses and sores on the inside of my mouth, which is why you want to make sure that you're getting them refit or relined. And so I came out and I was like, these are not going to work. And the more I looked at them, the shape had changed. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is why I had to get dentures in the first place. And we've told this story before, but in my 30s, I was living in California. And as an intersex individual, I had chipped a tooth. I mean, that has nothing to do with intersex, but I had chipped a tooth. And I finally had insurance when I lived in California. I was about 35. I was working on television and doing television and film. I finally had insurance through SAG to go get my tooth fixed. And I went to a dentist and they said, you have 32 adult teeth left in your mouth. All 32 need root canals. You can be in this chair for the next 9 months getting all teeth worked on. But there's nothing to say that 6 months down the road, you won't have to have another tooth redone because root canals are not the solution. And, we really kind of went back and forth on it. And then they said, intersex individuals, XXY individuals, the dentist knew, he said, y'all don't have the great teeth. Y'all don't have the greatest teeth anyway. Y'all don't have a lot of the best oral health anyway. He goes, I think we should pull them all. It'll be cheaper. And then you will be able to get implants. But as they started to pull the teeth to do that, they then realized that being intersex and XXY, I had suffered from something called toroodontism. And then I now had a bone bacteria in my jawline that would have to be scraped out for the next 2 weeks, broken up, worked on, made sure all the bacteria was gone. And then in that process, they said, oh, by the way, you can't ever have implants. Your jawline won't support them. One wrong screw and your jaw will shatter. You're going to be in dentures for the rest of your life. I was 35 and doing film and television. My face and my look was my whole aesthetic. That's what put me into dentures at 35. So 13 years later, and I've had them refitted twice or relined twice prior to this, I was going back in to get them relined. So now to have the actual shape changed, right? And not only that, people ask about dental prices all the time. And I always remind people, your dentures are going to be based upon who your denturist is, whoever's making your dentures. And then you have to figure in cost factors like materials or labor, or did they hand make them? Are they machine made? Like all of this filters in. And some dental companies will have a low end denture all the way up to their most extreme wacky doodle newfangled set, right? So there are a lot of possibilities when getting things done, and a lot of places consider it cosmetic as well. So it's not often covered by dental insurance if you're lucky enough to have that. And my initial set that I gotten 13 years ago, the gentleman that did the work from California, when I lived in California, worked for Garden Grove, a dental company in Garden Grove. And he said, I understand what you're going to face for the rest of your life as somebody with XXY. You're going to have dental issues and bone issues way in the future. And I want to offset that for you. I had actually found a local advocacy group that did children's teeth, that would provide money for children's teeth when I was 35 because I couldn't afford it all to get done. And I said, well, if you don't hit your maximum donation for children in the area, XXYs, we basically have kids' teeth, even at 35, because they've never gone past that developmental stage. So would you be willing to help me out in this case? Now, they had given me an allotted number and had me go to this particular dentist in Garden Grove. And he said, whatever they don't cover, I'll cover out of pocket because I understand what you're going to go through for the rest of your life. And I thought, okay, well, thank you. Kind of like pro bono. The day I got my dentures in California 13 years ago and walked out of the office, I asked the receptionist, if I'm ever in a position to repay this back or pay it back, can I ask what he paid? And she said, I'm not supposed to tell you. And I said, can I just ask what all of this work would be? Because it started out as just pulling my teeth and then ended up being almost reconstructive surgery for my jaw. She said $36,000. Now, remind you, that dentist probably got things that cost $36,000. And then I said, how much did my grant pay? And she said $1,000. So at 35, at a crucial moment in my intersex life, somebody had stepped forward and given me an amazing smile back. So imagine my disdain to be now in Savannah thinking I just need to reline it, it's going to be easy, and to come out with those dentures, which probably on the high end were $6,000, $7,000 for where I was in California at that time. And then all the work was probably 30. To have them completely reshaped and not fitting in something that should have been as easy as pouring a lining into the denture to make it fit better in my mouth, right? What people don't know that don't have dental work done or dentures or partials, right? You can't eat without your teeth. And if you have jaw issues or gum issues, you're probably not eating anyway. And I often tell people your teeth are the first in your line of defense. They often will tell you your teeth are tied to your sinus issues, your teeth are tied to migraine issues, to vision issues, to even plaque on your heart. If you have an infection in your mouth, that's kind of the gateway to everything, right? And so you always want to make sure that you're taking care of your oral health. And so in that moment, I was like, this is going to affect everything, Aspen Dental, and I'm not sure I want to pay for the reline because I didn't get what I needed out of it. But they said, let's go into the back, let's meet with the lab technician, and let's see if we can do some minor adjustments. So I went into the back office and laid down in the chair, and the assistant took my dentures. She walked into the lab, which was directly behind the room that I was laying in. And then she said she's not happy with the fit. She doesn't like the way it's made her jawline look. And his response, this gentleman, I'm not going to name him. I've already named him on social media. I'm not going to do that again because we're going to talk more about what Aspen did on the back end, which absolutely saved me. But in that moment, this lab technician said, well, it's probably not happy because it has caused its jaw to look like it did before it had to transition in the first place. She came back in and said, hey, we adjusted them some. Try these. And I said, first, I'm not trans. Second, that's not a conversation that should be had in any office, medical, business. That's none of your business. But also shouldn't be going on. I said, these don't fit. She then took them back and took them back in again. And their conversation got quieter. I think she shared with him that I was not happy and what I just said. He then comes back into the room with her afterwards. And he's like, I said, these give me an overbite. And he was like, oh, everybody has an overbite. An overbite's more natural. And I said, yes. So if that's the case, why are parents around the globe paying to put their kids in dentures so they don't have an overbite or an underbite? So I don't like that answer. And I was like, they look different. They make me look like I've gotten the new chompers because I'm about to be in Mr. Ed the movie and I got cast in the lead role. Like, they looked horrible. Then he goes, what do you do here in Savannah? And I was like, I'm an actress. I was so done by this point. And he was like, what do you act in? And I was like, I literally wanted to turn around and be like, things that they need actors and actresses for. When I'm upset or when I'm flustered, I always lead with humor. What's funny to me anyway, right? And so he goes, what kind of acting do you do? And I went, porn. Like, I just threw it out there really fast. And I even told Aspen Dental later, I was like, it's probably not the right thing to say, but I was so uncomfortable in that situation. And then this gentleman said, oh, I watch porn with my dog. Again, not something you want to talk about in any business. In any business. They were closing. It was about 3:40. I took my teeth. I left because they close at 4. I went home. And as soon as I got home, I made a TikTok about it. Now, there are a lot of people that have come forward since then and said, oh, kind of, poor pitiful you went on your TikTok and you made a video. You're not giving them a chance to fix it. And I went, oh no, I gave them a whole afternoon to fix it. And then this is what happened, right? And I said, and I'm actually using my TikTok platform because it is my platform. I'm using that to reach out to them because I'm not dumb. They're going to reach out. Now, I didn't think they were going to reach out the next day. I didn't think that they were going to reach out maybe in a week. I knew that there were a lot of issues that people had franchise-wise with Aspen Dental. I don't have so many people on TikTok that I'm Mama Tot. I'm not Ophelia. I don't have 8 million people watching me. I don't. And the people that already watch me are engaged with me because of my education of intersex stuff. So I thought, But y'all, that TikTok went viral overnight. In the morning, 5,000 comments later, and still growing. Everybody unloaded about my issues and their issues. And by Friday night, so I posted that on a Thursday. I think I told you I went in originally on a Friday. So it was a Thursday. I posted it Thursday. Friday night, their legal counsel for Aspen Dental had reached out to my lawyer in Florida. One day. And said, this is not who we are. This 100% is not who we are. And we want to help rectify it. And what is that going to take? And my lawyer said, Irene, we talked about her before. She said, well, Julie's in Savannah. And I can't be there with her. She's like, I got a family here in Florida. But she's like, she's in Savannah. And what do you want to do? And she was told on the phone, she said, the head of our legal is flying in and wants to meet her for coffee Saturday morning. So within 2 days of the video going viral, they were meeting with me for coffee Saturday morning to hear my side of the story. At the end of that meeting, he said, we'd like to send you to our Pooler location, which is about 25 minutes away from here. But that's where I go when I'm in town. And I would like to send you there. And we are going to rectify this situation for you on Monday. This is not who we are. Please give us a chance to explain who we are. This is not who we are. And if it's how people perceive us, it's not how we want to be perceived. Give us the opportunity to fix it. Then they were like, oh, by the way, the head of our denturist department for all of our corporate Aspen Dental is from Canada. He works part of the time in Chicago, and he is flying in for your appointment with Dr. Patel in Pooler on Monday. So he'll be there too. then, you start to have all the people coming forward that are saying, well, you're only getting this kind of attention because of them misgendering you. No, I'm getting this kind of attention because I called them out and I asked for help. Period. Again, I don't have some big social media platform. I called them out very publicly. I'm not saying that my platform has not helped in some way, but I remind people, I'm like, ask for help. There's so many other people on social media that are like, well, I'd never get that kind of help. And I'm like, well, have you asked? Have you made a video saying you did X, and Y? Have you said to the cleaners in town, you ruined my wedding dress by allowing your employees to drink red wine and it ruined my wedding dress? Have you made a video like that? And they're like, well, no. Okay, well, you make a video like that and you offer them the opportunity to right their wrong, and maybe they'll reach out to you. And you're not a cunt about it, right? Like, I was upset about it, but I wasn't racing in saying I'm going to sue you and drag you across the United States. I was saying, I need my teeth. I have a movie shoot coming up on the 30th. They've hired me for my smile and my teeth, and I'm sitting here like a duck during hunting season in a lake with hunters on the bank. Like, I need my teeth. I need you to fix my teeth. I need your help in this, right? So that Monday, I went into the Pooler office. They have an amazing dentist in that Pooler office. They have a few, but they had Dr. Roma Patel, met her. They had, we just uploaded the picture today onto justjuleigh.com in the media section. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I have to write a blog about all of this later on. And so I'm going to be posting that up there too. And then I met Dr. Eric Kakuka. I never say his name right. Who had flown in from Chicago. And we all met, and immediately out of the gate. And then I met their regional vice president of operations here in Georgia. Her name is Rachel. And immediately, this is not who we are. We're so sorry. I think on some level, knowing what had happened, on some level, not knowing fully what had happened, certainly didn't know about my background. So they were using this opportunity to fix my dentures or fix the issue. And I was using the opportunity to educate them about what it means to be intersex, not trans, and what it means to be in a position where you absolutely 100% have to rely on somebody fixing the problem for you because you can't do it on your own. And Eric Kakuka had patented and made this 3D imprinting machine that they use at Aspen Dental to create dentures, right? And, a lot of denturists will create a wax mold first, and then they will send your things out to the lab and have them done. And 2 or 3 weeks later, they'll come back and you go back. I mean, it is a process. People are going through life without partials and without full sets of teeth, and they're horrified to do it. But usually the process is very long and extended, especially if it's like that first time that I went and got dentures. You're not going in and having all your teeth pulled in one day. The trauma that would do to your mouth is extensive. So it is a process. But on Monday, I went in that day. He took the old dentures that they had destroyed, that the one lab technician had destroyed, and he took a wand out. And as we talked and commiserated and shot the shit, he 3D imprinted my original set of dentures. They took extensive measurements in the first hour that I was there. They spent a lot of time with me. And then he said, we're going to print your dentures out. When you come back this afternoon, we'll put them in, we'll check the fit, and then it'll be about a week, maybe less, before we get your final set, which you'll have before the 30th, for the movie and to get back in your life. And then we're going to give you another set. So they ended up making me 2 sets of dentures. I'm waiting for that second set to come back now. Literally my issue was fixed. And then they reached out and said, we'd like you to educate us about the intersex community and educate us on a corporate level. We may even ask you to be a part of a commercial or further education in the local area. And I got to speak to Rachel about the whole situation. And we were talking, and I said, I don't know if I would fire the original lab technician. I think he shouldn't be around people right now. I think he should certainly go back to some schooling for what to do with relines and rebases and denture. I don't know if that's somebody that I would want in my lab. I said, but maybe you offer him a different position in your company. And then if he wants to move on in his career, let him do that. Don't fire him. I don't want to be responsible for anybody's lack of income in 2023. Right? We've all suffered enough in the last couple of years. That's not what I want to do. I would certainly retrain him, put him into a different capacity with the company, take him away from people, teach him some insensitivity training, right? But I don't know if I'd fire him. And then as we talked more and more, I'm a firm believer in everything happening for a succinct reason. Right? I think some of the greatest minds in history have come together in simple conversations for maybe the most mundane things. And then that synergy is created and life has changed for everybody or for the individuals in that conversation. And so I started to share with Dr. Patel and Dr. Kakuka my evolution of dentures and dental work and being intersex and XXY and what that meant for me in my journey. And then Dr. Patel was standing there kind of like, you're kidding. Like, she's a dentist. And we had even talked about how dental being kind of that gateway to everything, you would think that they would include dental within regular med school, and they don't, right? And we were talking about, you would think that they would make the connections, and they don't teach that. They don't talk about it. And a lot of medical doctors aren't realizing the gravity of what could happen in your mouth leading to a stroke or heart attack, right? Because they don't teach it. So we're talking all of that. And then Dr. Kakuka turns around and shares that he has a brother on the spectrum. And when I say spectrum, I've had to talk about this a lot in the last couple of days. People always want to know what intersex is. Intersex is the global medical term for 42 variations of the X chromosome that have already been recognized and diagnosed that lie between XX and XY. So XX for female, XY for male. There's a bridge in between, and there are 42 variations of the X chromosome on that bridge, on that spectrum. Any of those variations, in any of the ways that they present, which are all different, because we often say on that other podcast, if you've met one intersex person, you have met one intersex person. In all the ways, in all the myriads that their body can present, that they present, right? And we're talking about people that present fully male on the outside and inside, but have XXX chromosomes. We're talking about individuals that may have XXY chromosomes, identify as more female, or identify as more cisgendered male, or identify as split in between. We're talking about people that have Turner syndrome. We're talking about people that are even in the Down syndrome spectrum, even though that is not an added chromosome as much as it is a missing chromosome. They are still on that spectrum. And so they still fall under the intersex umbrella. And while individuals in that umbrella may not consider themselves intersex, that's how the global community identifies us, right? And Eric shared, my brother is on the spectrum. And he shared that with us. And it made us closer. It made him and I a little bit closer. Because on some level, he shared with me what he had been through growing up, having to have his family devote extra time sometimes to his brother for all the issues that his brother presented. And that made me think of the different things my family's had to sacrifice and sometimes give up or deal with on my intersex journey, right? And what other families go through sometimes, and the individualized, specialized care that we can't even get sometimes, because we're literally walking into a medical office blind and saying, I'm intersex, and you still have medical doctors that go, what is that? Is that something y'all are making up these days? Like, what is that? And you have to go, how is the patient educating the doctor? Let me do that for you, right? And so that made that connection between us more. And he had even said in that moment, we said, this synergy of both of us meeting under these circumstances is for a reason. You being involved in this corrective process for what happened to me last Thursday is for a reason. And I shared it with Rachel right in that moment. I said, a lot of people are telling me I shouldn't accept the dentures and I should sue you just for what you did to the trans community. And I said, or even the intersex community. And I said, but the lesson to be learned is I would rather you fix my dentures, which is what I need. And then instead of that money coming into my pocket, because it's only been a couple of days and I don't really have any pain and suffering from it, is let's turn around and maybe open a clinic, or let's open a conversation and dialogue on how to help intersex individuals get the dental care that they need that may not be covered by insurance. Or let's reach out to some of these other Aspen Dental clients that have been underserved through your corporation, and let's try and fix some of their issues. Why don't we start there, right? And we kind of talked about the firestorm that this synergy and moment had created. I turned to Rachel, who was she's the vice president of their offices here in Georgia. And we were having a deeper conversation. And I said, on some level, you may feel like this is a fix. And it is. And I'm grateful for it. 100%. I am grateful. Thank you so much. But the real damage and fallout from this whole situation are the individuals that already look up to me as an advocate for my community and strength, that I've been working with or on for the last 3 years to get them to a point where they can actually step out of the door and say, the intersex community is growing on TikTok. I follow Julie. I follow these other creators. They are getting the care that they need. Let me finally take my own life into my own hands, advocate for myself, and go get the care that I need. They see this one TikTok of how I was treated, in your office. And they've now taken 15 steps, 20 steps, 30 steps. They've regressed. And now they're not leaving their house to go get that care, because on some level they feel like they are going to be treated in the same vein because it happened to me. And she looked at me, and at that point in time, Eric turned around and he said, she's correct. She is 100% correct. That damage can't be undone. Maybe, in this process of helping. So then after they help me and they get me my dentures, which I'm wearing now, right? And we made a big joke about how I needed them to be pageant white or second coming of Christ white, because that's my aesthetic. I went home and made another video, another talk about what they had done and how happy I was and who they are as people and who they're trying to be as a company. And then I made another talk, right? And so even though that initial talk is still growing and you still have people going out there and making their issues known, hopefully Aspen Dental will continue to watch that, knowing that even if I took it down tomorrow, it's still going to grow because it's on the internet forever and people have already shared it 178 times. And who knows where that share went, right? That maybe this is the catalyst, right? And they did absolutely right by me. The Pooler office has a client in me forever. The way I was treated forever. I'm extremely grateful for Roma Patel, who is amazing, and Eric, who is absolutely amazing, and the work that he's doing and the work that they're continuing to doing. And yes, it's secular in the sense that Pooler is a franchise in some way, right? The Pooler office is not going to be great as the Des Moines office, and that's not going to be as great as the Seattle office, and that might not be as great, right? And so it's secular in that way, but we brought light to a larger corporation that knows that they have work to do. And maybe that will encourage them to do that. I really believe in good faith that they will. I really believe, especially if it were just the team that I'm working with in Pooler, if they could, I think they would change the world. They did right by me. But I also gave them the opportunity to do right by me. 100%. And they did. Somebody reached out to me on TikTok during this whole ordeal. His name is King Mondo 805, if you're on TikTok. And he said, I would like to make you a brand new set of dentures. It'll cost about $4,500 for your upper and lowers. I hand make them. Let me do this for you. And I said, Aspen is already rectifying the issue for me. But can we take the set you were going to make for me? And can we get that to another deserving individual? If you're hearing this and you're not on TikTok and you are a mother, on Mother's Day, King Mondo and I are doing a giveaway. And we are giving that set to a deserving mother, any age. Requirements are that you be a mother. You follow that video on TikTok for me. So you go to justjulie.com on TikTok. You follow that Mother's Day video. So you've got to follow me, and then you've got to put your comment down below that you have followed me and that you would like to be entered in the contest. King Mondo will take your name and put it into a drawing. On Mother's Day, he will get that set to another deserving individual. Somebody said, why are you doing that? And I said, I got my dentures. Aspen rectified my issue. But I'm in a position where I can help other people. So why wouldn't you? It's called paying it forward. And I think if you're in a, look, I feel like if you're in a position to go over to your neighbor's house and give them a way to keep their fence closed so their dog will quit escaping weekly, if you've got the know-how to do that versus them that don't have the know-how to do that, as just a decent person that cares about your fellow humans, you should go fix their fence. What, it's going to take an hour at the most of your time? Even if your suggestion is tying two rubber bands together and slipping a slip knot over the latch on the fence, if it stops the dog from getting out, and that's what you can offer the situation, that's what you should offer the situation. Instead of trying to make life harder for everybody, we should be offering up ways to make it easier for everybody. We're all in this dumpster fire together. If that's, for some people, life is a dumpster fire. We've all had our instances. We all go through, I say it all the time, we all go through chaos in this lifetime. We're all going to go through things that are either break or make us in this lifetime. We're going to all go through it. Nobody's getting off of this turntable without going through something cataclysmic in their own life. If you can do something that's going to make your fellow man or woman or non-binary or chihuahua or squirrel or tree, or if you can do something that's going to make somebody else's life spirit easier, their journey easier, then do it. If you can peaches and you find out the old lady down the street really likes peaches and she can't get to the market, make her some canned peaches. And then take them down the street and be like, you don't know me and I don't need any reparation, but here's some peaches because I heard you like them. We talk so much about toxic masculinity, toxic this, toxic that, narcissist this, narcissist that. We talk about harm and gloom and doom. We talk about that all the time on social media. Let's talk about leaving your house and giving everybody in one day a compliment, even if it kills you because you're a nasty person. Try it. It may change your whole outlook on life. It may open doors for you that you never even realized in a million years could be open, because lo and behold, everybody that you ran into tomorrow, you gave a good compliment. That's a really pretty shirt. That's a great looking color on you. Oh my gosh, that tie looks amazing with that suit. It doesn't even have to be a personal compliment. Just compliment somebody. Get off your phone. Quit looking at the street. Stop at a stoplight and let 19 children pass. Slow your life down to include everybody. We are doing something new at justjuleigh.com, and I haven't even talked about the osteoporosis stuff yet, but we are doing something new at justjuleigh.com called Ask Juleigh, or Just Juleigh Answers. So if you're watching this, you can follow justjuleigh.com. You can follow the YouTube, because I'll be doing this every Tuesday now. But you can go to justjuleigh.com and you can ask me anything, literally anything. You can ask me what my favorite chewing gum is. You can ask me how to get chewing gum off of a park bench. You can ask me how I come up with ideas for decorating my room. You can ask me marriage advice. Look, I'm not even married, so I don't know if that would be a good question to ask me, because I just said marriageal, which is not even a word. But you literally can ask me whatever you want to ask me. And then once a month, I'm going to be taking those questions live and making videos and contents from those. But even on a more, we're trying to build this initiative out to even give you better advice across the board for how to live a better life. Whether that be physical advice, whether that be medical advice, whether that be how to find a boob surgeon in your area because you want tits like I have. It runs the gamut. You want to know how to stop that fence so that dog will quit coming through it. You want to ask me questions about my favorite food. You want to ask me questions about why I eat macaroni and cheese so much. It doesn't matter, but it's literally Just Juleigh Answers. But we're also building it into a forum so that you can get answers across the board for anything that you need answers for. And if you need a doctor, if you need a dentist, if you need dentures, if you need somebody that can deal with rheumatoid arthritis, if you have nowhere to go to find out where you can get the help that you need in this life journey, you'll be able to come ask me. And I will be 100. I'm going to own it, right? And I will get you the answers. At the same time, I just said to my dad not 40 minutes ago, if it's something I have no idea what to tell you, don't think that I'm not a smart enough bitch to go find out the correct answer before I make the video contact to make sure that you're led in the right direction. Because if I end up being Yoda for the people for all your life needs, I'm fine with that. And if you feel more comfortable asking me for that help because you don't have anybody else that you can reach out to, I'm fine with that. And if you want to get to the point where I am helping you each month, I don't want to call myself a life coach because, have you seen my life? No, it's great. Actually, my life's pretty great. But I mean, if you need me to reach out and call you monthly, I will reach out and call you monthly if that's what you need. Life is too short. We had a great conversation today in a meeting that I was a part of where we talked about elder care. We were talking about elder care. And I have a really great friend that's going through a lot with an elderly family member. I have another friend that I connect with on TikTok all the time, Mary, Texas Charm, if you follow on there. And her mother is 84. And we were talking about how she's in an assisted living facility and she gets more UTIs than a women's clinic. And I said, gosh, Mary, on some level, you have to start thinking, is she getting the UTI because of how she is medically? Or is she getting that because of her lack of care in this specific facility? Now, whether you wonder that or not, at the end of the day, there needs to be better care for our elderly. And it was said during this meeting, the medical community tends to focus on 20 through 40-year-olds. If you haven't hit 20 yet, they're not really worried about you because you can't afford to pay anything and you still fall in some ways on your guardians or parents' insurance. But if you're over 40, they've already considered you a lost cause and you're on your own. That's not right. So if you need to come to me to say, I'm in Podunk, Nebraska, and I don't know where to go, and I'm alone, and I don't have any family members left, where can I get this level of care? Let me at Just Julie be the one that says, let me help you find out. And then find out for you. And then put you into contact with the care that you need. Maybe you need to call me. Look, my mom was laughing a minute ago. Blair loves my sense of humor, one of the friends I was just talking about. And she was in this meeting today, and I didn't say it in the meeting today, but my mom was laughing because she was like, oh, Julie. And I said, right. Let me be the next Martha Stewart. My dad says, you don't cook. And I said, yeah, I don't cook. But Martha Stewart doesn't either. She literally has a team of people that make lobster bisque with a chocolate ganache cake. And she steps in at the last minute, smokes a doobie with Snoop Dogg and says, it's a good thing. She didn't make that, right? Like, I'll attempt to make macaroni and cheese if it makes you feel better because it makes me more on your level. Like, let's be honest. I don't have time to be making chocolate ganache cakes, but, I'll answer your questions for you. And I told my mom, I said, look, somebody could write in and say, how do you get blood stains out of your sheets? And I said, well, try not to kill anybody in your bed because that could just lead to a whole bunch of stuff that nobody wants to deal with. But then I could also say, add hydrogen peroxide to that stain, throw it in your washing machine, right? Simple questions, hardcore questions, where to hide the body. Let me be that for you. And it'll be a fun ride along the way. And then as we talk about just more serious things, going back to everybody's in the same dumpster, we'll have some fun doing it along the way because life is short. And to quote a really good friend, Bianca Del Rio, If y'all don't know her, she won RuPaul's Drag Race a couple of seasons early on. Such a great comedian and performer and entertainer. But to quote Bianca Del Rio, we're all going to die. Nobody's getting out of here. Or better yet, to quote my mother, called her last week and I said, ugh, with this new osteoporosis diagnosis, now I'm going to have to be super transparent on dating apps. I'm already really transparent about the game show buzzer. Now I got to tell you that I may actually end up needing your care more than you want to give it to me. You know what my mom said? Well, Julie, we all die alone. True. We all die alone. Not necessarily what I wanted to hear from my mom at that point, but we all die alone. Where Cher says, we all sleep alone. But I really feel like as a human entity, we shouldn't have to feel that way. We shouldn't have to. Do we die alone? Yes. Do we come into this world alone? Yes. Are there a lot of people that feel alone and marginalized in this life journey? 100%. Should they? Maybe not. Do for others. I often share this when I tell my story on a large level, whether it be at corporate events or whether I've been hired to speak somewhere, right? I will often say, if we don't share our collective stories, if we don't champion each other, if we don't support each other, if we don't lift each other up, if we don't do any of this stuff, change is never coming. If we want the world to be a better place than where it was when we arrived, we have to initiate helping each other and sharing with each other and talking. And if nobody else is going to pick that baton up and run the race, I'll do it. Let me do it at Just Juleigh. JustJuleigh.com/answers will take you right to that landing page, and then you can ask me whatever you want to ask me. And then we will continue to engage through YouTube. So you want to follow this channel, through podcast, which I'm already on, Spotify and Blurry. Leave that radio, right? If you're listening to me right now in the ethers of Radioland, get on your laptop. Come ask me a question at justjuleigh.com. Come follow me on TikTok. We will continue to engage in every way, and we will continue to help each other. You need a friend? Let me be that for you. You need a confidant? Let me be that. You need a cheerleader? Let me be that. You have a question? Let me be that. You just want to hear my answers because they're funny? Let me be that. You just want to stare at me while I'm on camera? Let me do that for you. Everybody needs a friend. And everybody needs people in life that will advocate for them, to get them the care that they need, whether that be physical, psychological, mental, motivational, educational. So join us at justjuleigh.com as we move forward and as we set out to change the world. Thank you for joining me this evening. We will get into the osteoporosis stuff a little bit later. I will be writing a blog about the Aspen Dental stuff, which you'll be able to find on the Just Juleigh page as well. But a lot of interesting, fun things are coming. And it's about us going together, people. It's about us creating this community and moving together, right? It is about us changing the topography of life together. Spiritually, right? You can ask me literally anything. Much love to all of you, to all of my cocktails from TikTok. Thank you for watching as well. And I will see y'all next Tuesday at 7 p.m. live here. And maybe we'll already have some questions in the kitty. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Namaste.